Welcome to this video presentation about supervision. This presentation is prepared for the class of Instructional Program of Supervision in Nursing in St. Paul University, Manila. I am Rosnancy Sinaga. The concept of supervision is based on the fact of improvement of instruction is a cooperative project. Supervision concerned to stimulate, coordinate, guide, and make the teacher self-directive. And supervision can be called superior vision. It is the vision which has the mission. It is looking forward and has large scope for growth of education. So supervision refers to the professional guidance and support that provided by the educational managers that are expected to offer the teacher an assistance that will enhance and improve teacher motivation and classroom instruction. So, what is the purpose of supervision? So, the purpose of supervision is to check the availability of teaching learning materials. It is to advise the appropriateness of teaching learning materials in use. Supervision is also to assess staff levels, and supervision it is to assess also the school climate and the availability and quality of advising and support services available to the teachers. And supervision's purpose is to promote curriculum change and innovation, and supervision is a timetabling. Another purpose of supervision is to attend the welfare of teachers and to the institutional problems. Another purpose of supervision is to collect data to facilitate planning and decision making. And the last purpose is to monitor policy implementation. I found in other books that the reasons for conducting supervision is to provide feedback on teachers' performance, and supervision is also to identify needs for teachers' development and also to look for potential for promotion. And conducting supervision is also to check the quality assurance. And then supervision is also, we could ensure teacher motivation and morale. And another reason to conduct supervision is to provide support professionally and guidance for the teachers. So in both of the above situations, we can see that supervision it is to ensure that the professional environment is supportive to the teaching and learning process. And the ultimate objective of supervision is to improve the quality of teaching and learning. It means that the supervisor may play some roles like planner, organizer, leader, helper, evaluator, motivator, communicator, and decision maker. And we can see that these roles, we can equalize that to the role of manager. So when we hear about the word supervision of instruction, it means that through effective supervision, the school's administrators can reinforce and enhance teaching practices to improve students' learning, and it is also to provide meaningful feedback and direction for teachers. And through effective supervision, it will hold the teachers will be accountable for providing an appropriate and well-planned program. Let us define first about the word of supervision. Supervision is a management function that can be delivered by one or more individuals within and maybe from external to the team. And supervision involves controlling, influencing, and leading a team. People with supervisory roles are expected to maintain discipline, to take responsibility, and be held accountable for the actions of a team. So we can see here that the supervision role is also a management function. I found another definition of supervision. This is according to Powell and Brodsky. Supervision is a disciplined tutorial process wherein principles are transformed into practical skills with four overlapping functions of administrative, evaluative, clinical, and supportive. And another division, according to Bernard and Goodyear, supervision is an intervention provided by a senior member of a profession to a more junior member of members. And it says that this relationship will be evaluated, will be extended over time, and has purposes to enhance the professional function of the junior person. Bernard further says that supervision is to monitor the quality of professional services offered to the client, and it will serve also as the gatekeeper of those who are entering the profession. I found another definition of supervision. It is a social influence process that occurs over time in which the supervisor will participate with supervisees to ensure quality of clinical care. It says that an effective supervisor will observe, will mentor, coach, evaluate, inspire, and create an atmosphere that will promote self-motivation, learning, and professional development. The supervisor will build teams, create cohesion, resolve conflict, and shape agency culture. And while at the same time, he will attend to ethical and diversity issues in all the process. So we can conclude here that supervision is about quality improvement. So to see the deeper meaning of supervision, Jahanian and Ibrahimi explained that supervision is cooperation with individuals, and it is interactive in nature, and it is teacher-oriented. So supervision is a service activity that will improve teaching methodology of the teachers. So when we hear about instructional supervision, it is an important work to ensure the implementation of the educational mission of the school, to oversee, equip, and empower teachers in order to provide meaningful learning experience for students. And this instructional supervision is important, and it requires facilitating collaborative strategic planning that will involve all stakeholders like parents, board members, teachers, administrative staff, and support staff. And when planning the goal, it should be specific, measurable, attainable, results-oriented, and timely. So when an instructional supervisor will conduct a supervision, he would do frequent observations of the classroom and provide feedback that will give impact on students. And it says here that a strong instructional supervisor will not only look for teacher evidence of best practice, but also to the students. So in educational institution, the effective instructional supervision will prioritize research and new discoveries that will foster the growth mindset of educators, students, and families. And a successful instructional supervisor will foster a culture of openness and growth, so teachers can learn, they can grow, and they can feel comfortable within the institution. So in the educational institution, the instructional leader or supervisor are the principal or leaders in the school. However, the other administrative and leadership team members can also serve this role. So the effective instructional supervision will raise students' achievement and will create valuable educational opportunities for students. This can be achieved if the supervisor define a clear goals for the school. So a successful supervisor also will provide a support to teachers, not only workshops, but he will be available to the teachers and will foster growth by completing walkthroughs and clinical supervisions. Furthermore, an effective supervisor will work with the community. It means that he will work with the parents and teacher in order to help the community with its needs. So in the end, instructional supervision is about student growth. Teachers and students need an instructional supervisor so they can dig deeply into data about students' results, and the instructional supervision will help teachers to translate the data into strengths and weakness for the improvement of the school that will give impact to the students. And this instructional supervisor is important to the school for to attain the goal, and it's also important. It's important also for the teacher's success and especially for students' achievement. There are three most commonly supervision. The kind of supervision, it is clinical, managerial, and professional supervision. So about managerial supervision, it is carried out by a supervisor with authority and accountability that will provide opportunity for the staff to review their performance, to set priorities or objectives that it is in line with the organization's objective and its needs. And the supervisor will also provide opportunity to identify training and continuing development for the staff. So managerial supervision can be described as overseeing and managing employees in the workplace. So when we relate the supervision managerial to the healthcare practice, the supervision is needed because it relates to the delegation of tasks to auxiliary healthcare staff, and especially in low and middle income countries or in the hospitals in peripheral area, a supervisor is needed to oversee the work of the staff and also the health workers in the community. So in the health system, especially in low and middle income countries, the supervisor generally viewed as a central tool for providing continuous training for the less qualified healthcare workers, and maybe they may not have a formal training. So the term supervisor here is about its in nature is a supportive supervision. So in the healthcare systems, they really rely on the supervision to increase the quality of care to the patients. And even this is highly recommended. Supervision is sometimes rarely to carry out because of the problem of maybe lack of transportation means, maybe because of financial resources, and maybe the inadequate training of the supervisors. So another type of supervision is professional supervision. The term may be interchangeable with clinical supervision, but this term is sometimes used where supervision is carried out by another member of the same profession group. And this type of supervision will give the opportunity to the staff to review their professional standards, to keep up to date with the developments in their profession, and the supervisor will provide opportunity to identify professional training and development needs of the staff, and it's also the supervisor will ensure the staff will work within the professional codes of conduct and boundaries. So in the professional supervision, this is a more formal process where In this type of supervision, the supervisor will enable the employee to improve their knowledge and skill within their profession, and it is mandated by the professional bodies. As a professional supervisor, they should they are framed of being positive and enabling the staff, and the supervisor and the employees will work together in their practice, and then in the end they will review and evaluate the work. So another type of supervision is clinical. This supervision will provide opportunity for the staff to reflect on and review their practice. The supervisor will give the opportunity to the staff to discuss the individual cases in depth, and the staff could change or modify their practice and could identify training and continuing development needs. So when we use the term of clinical supervision, it is about a supervision for all staff who care for the people who use services. So including here is as nurses and support workers. So clinical supervision is about maintaining the professionalism of this staff working with people who use the service. So the purpose of clinical supervision is to create a safe and confidential environment for staff so they can reflect and discuss their work more personally, and they can give response to the work. And the focus of clinical supervision is to support the development of the staff so they can reflect and it will be reflected in the practice. So the benefits of clinical supervision for the staff is to identify the developmental needs of the staff. So the benefits of clinical supervision for the people who use services and cares is to ensure that the people will receive a high quality care at all times from the staff. So the benefits of clinical supervision for the service provider is they are crucial in setting the tone, values, and behaviors expected of individuals. And this clinical supervisor will sit along the practices in recruitment, in induction and training to ensure that the staff will have the right skills, attitudes, and will support the patient with high quality services. So another benefit of clinical supervision for service providers, it is associated with higher levels of job satisfaction, improved retention, reduced turnover, and staff effectiveness. And as an effective clinical supervisor, they will work to increase employees' perceptions of organizational support and improve their commitment to the vision and mission of the organization. And also they will provide the staff to fulfill their duty. And then more importantly, the supervisor linked to a good clinical governance that will support the quality improvement of the health system by increasing their accountability. So in a healthcare system, the clinical supervision is considered to be an essential part because they contribute to the meeting of professional development. So within the institution, especially in the educational institution, the supervisor is the first line, the first person in the supervision, and they play a critical role in every organization. The supervisor will execute all the corporate plans and objectives, and it also depends on the supervisor's skills and abilities. These line supervisors are responsible for supervising the employees' immediate work on the line, schedules, and quality control. So these supervisors, they act as the manager's eyes and ears on the line during the operations of, or the process of the organization. So in whatever industry they work, the first line supervisor will play an important role to carry out the goal of the company or institution. This supervisor will check or will assess if, for example, if the production is at too slow pace or maybe produce the inferior goods, then they will check so the production will run smoothly. The supervisor will make sure that the people are working to their most capacity and have a reasonable workload. So in this case, the supervisor will act as a communicator between the manager and production workers. So when we talk about supervision, it is really related to the word of leadership, as leadership is the art of motivating others in the group to act toward achieving the goal. The leadership is being able to be an inspiration for others. And an effective leadership is based upon ideas, but won't happen unless those ideas can be communicated to others, so they are in a way to act to fulfill the goal. And in a simpler way, the leader is the inspiration and the director of the action. So leadership is related to the nature of inspiring and directing others to fulfill the action. And the leader will have the personality and leadership skills, so other people will follow their direction. So when we check the definition of leadership, according to Warren Bennis, the leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality. And based on Wikipedia, leadership is both a research area and a practical skills that will encompass the ability of an individual or organization to lead or guide other or individual or team or entire organizations. When we talk about leadership, it relates with management, as the leader has the management function. And within the educational institution, the management function is about the process of planning, organizing, directing, and controlling the activities of an institution by utilizing human and material resources to effectively and efficiently accomplish the functions of teaching and extensions work and research. So what the needs for educational management? The first is to create a congenial environment. The second is to have the scientific and systematic management of education that will be expected to bring qualified changes, and it will provide the education become smoother, and it will generate the situation without generating negative consequences. So there are 4 basic activities in management process. The first one is planning and decision making. The second one is organizing. The third one is leading, and the last activity is to control. So the functions of management is a process to emphasize that all managers, irrespective of their aptitude or skill, they will engage in interrelated functions to achieve the goals of the institution or organization. Then first, manager must set the plan. Then He will organize resources according to the plan, and he will lead the employees to work toward the plan, and finally he will control by monitoring and measuring the effectiveness of the plan. So the first activity of management process is planning. Planning, and it is related to the decision making, and it will determine the action. Planning is decision making and regarding the goals and setting the future course of action from a set of alternatives to reach them. And in short, planning means determining the organization's position and the situation should be in the future and decide how best to bring about the situation. So the second activity in management process is organizing. Organizing can be defined as the process by which the established plans are moved closer to realization. So once a manager set the goals and develop the plans, then his next function is to look for human resources to reach the goal. So organizing is related also to the staffing. So in short, the organizing is deciding where decisions will be made, who will do the jobs and the tasks, who will work for whom, and how resources will assemble. So the third function in management process is leading. The functions of leading involving the function of directing, motivating, communicating, and coordinating. And coordinating is the essential part in leading. Another quality that is essential in management is motivating. Motivating is the function of management process of influencing people's behavior based on the knowledge of what cause and channels sustain human behavior in a particular committed direction. And the last activity in management process is controlling. Controlling is related to the monitoring the organizational progress toward fulfillment of the goal. And this is essential to ensure the achievement of the vision and mission of the organization. Controlling is measuring, comparing, finding deviation, and correcting the organizational activities which are performed for achieving the goals or objectives. So the activities of controlling is like a measuring the performance, comparing the result with the existing standard, and find the deviations and will correct the deviations. So controlling activities is generally related to the measurement of achievement of goal. So in the controlling activities, the planning without controlling is useless. The controlling enables the accomplishment of the plan, and all the management functions of its process are interrelated and cannot be skipped. The management process designs and maintains an environment in which personnel working together in the groups and will accomplish efficiently the aims or the goals. So all the leaders, especially in the educational institution, will carry the main functions of management. They are planning, organizing, staffing, leading, and controlling. But it will depend on the skills and position within the organization. Planning, organizing, leading, and controlling are the four functions of management which works as a continuous process. So I will conclude the presentation. The supervision of instruction is designed with the main purpose to improve the instructional program, and generally in teaching area. So when this process of supervision is carefully planned and executed, then success will be attained. The supervisory function is best utilized as a continuous process rather than one that responds only to personal problems. And the administrators or the leaders with supervisory responsibility have the opportunity to have tremendous influence on the school program and help ensure the benefits of a strong program of instruction for students. Supervision is normally see or oversee. So supervision is more concerned with administrative work instead of academic work. Supervisor is not subject expert, and normally their position is autocratic. And supervision can enhance the teacher's leadership role in improving students' learning. And for the positive outcomes, the supervisor will carefully plan the supervision. Supervision is democratic, scientific, creative, and professional. So this is the end of the presentation. I hope you can learn something, and thank you for watching.